Hi friends, hello, hi, how are you? I hope you guys are having an amazing day today. Today we are doing, oh my god, this room is so a mess right now. I have gotten so many birthday things and I don't want to put them away yet because I'm going to film a haul like sometime next week, and so I don't want to put all those things away, but I also just want to live my life and like use the products that I bought. So a couple things in here are things that are new. Today is the weekly, is that what I'm filming? Yeah, this is the weekly drama update. Sometimes I get confused. So a lot has happened this week, but it's kind of similar to last week where not a lot of like big things happened. It's been more kind of like smaller things. So I feel like it would be fun to just sit down and talk about some of these things. First thing I want to talk about, I have an anti-haul going live tomorrow, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna keep the part in where I talked about this, but I also feel like it's worthy to talk about in the weekly drama update. Givenchy, which is a brand that's like a very luxurious brand. I don't know, but this is not my shade. Givenchy, which is a very expensive sort of a luxury brand who I guess sells makeup, but I feel like mostly the only reason I know who Givenchy is because they do a lot of styling for the Kardashians. Like I feel like that's literally the only reason I ever have heard of their brand is because of the Kardashians, and the Kardashians wear a lot of Givenchy on the like red carpets and stuff. I knew they made makeup, but I didn't like know they made makeup, if that makes sense. Like I've never really cared about their makeup releases. I've never really bought anything. I think there was maybe a bronzer from them a little while ago that I really loved. But that's pretty much it. They announced that they're coming out with a new foundation, and shockingly, it was terrible. The color range was absolutely horrendous. There was about, I think they had like 20 shades and like 15 were just white. Like not even like, just like pure Snow White. Like they might as well called it the Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs collection. And this again sparked kind of the debate that has been going on amongst the beauty community for quite a while now, inclusivity and makeup. I wanted to talk about this, and I feel like this is actually going to end up taking up most of the video because I have a lot of thoughts about this. It's difficult. So there's a lot of like factors that come into play here, and I think it's important to kind of address all of them and then talk about what the actual issue is here. The first issue being that a lot of people think that brands now, this is the biggest thing I've seen, is brands are coming out with non-inclusive shade ranges on purpose because it gets kind of a hype and it's kind of free publicity. You know the term like, see, like no publicity is bad publicity? That's kind of what I think they're taking the mantra of and thinking that brands are intentionally putting out bad shade ranges so that they can get more publicity for their products. And this could be true. Like brands definitely could be doing that. And so I know I'm gonna get a few comments on this video that are like, you're doing exactly what Givenchy wants. You're talking about their products. I don't necessarily think that's what's happening here. And I try to look at things, especially things like lack of inclusivity in makeup, from a sociological perspective, because I think that's kind of almost what it boils down to. I mean, to me, it's either brands are intentionally doing this to get publicity. They're intentionally making a very large majority of customers not be able to find a shade and make them feel excluded from beauty. They're either doing that on purpose to get PR, or they're doing it because they're truly ignorant to shades and they truly don't believe that people who are African American are able to buy their products. That's what it comes down to. Because I think if you look at, and I know Jeffree Star called it out, but his favorite foundation is Dior Air Flash, which has about 3 shades. So I don't really care that he called it out. I think that's the epitome of being woke when it fits him. Doing it as a publicity stunt so they can get more publicity for their product. I don't see why they would do that, because the Tarte Shape Tape didn't work for them. I don't know a brand that it has worked for. They're truly ignorant and truly think they are making shades that perfectly fit people of color, which I, again, don't think is happening. What I actually think is happening is one of two things. I think brands either don't have enough representation in their creative departments. There aren't enough people that are of different skin tones that are speaking up and saying, hey, this shade will not work for anybody who's not a freaking Oompa Loompa. I don't think there are people in the offices saying that to them because I don't think brands are hiring inclusively. Two, besides that point, I also don't think that brands care. I think high-end brands have their, especially high-end brands, like somebody like Tarte cannot get away with this, but Givenchy is going to be perfectly fine because they have a built-in audience of wealthy white women who are going to buy regardless, and they don't really care if they're ostracizing black women. They don't care. I think more of the Givenchy thing, what that means to me is that they just don't care. They don't, because that shade range very clearly shows that you don't care. You don't care about any customers other than your white customers. That is a glaring sign that you just don't care. I'm not gonna really buy Givenchy anyway, but if I were, now I'm not gonna. Let's add them to the list. I think there are some brands who this happens to, like for example, Beauty Blender is probably my favorite case of a brand that just fixed it without any of the fanfare and without any of the, oh, look at us, we've changed. They probably have done it the best because they just added 10 shades. They didn't make a big deal out of it. It wasn't a whole new campaign. They didn't really publicize it. They just quietly added 10 more shades to make their line more inclusive, and now it's much more inclusive in my opinion. I would love if you guys have any different opinions, but I think the new shades make it significantly more inclusive than it was. Somebody like Too Faced, who had to do a whole new campaign to be like, oh, look at us, we're so inclusive. We have Jackie Aina, we have all of these, you know, we're so inclusive. We really like care. And it's like, if you really cared, you'd just do it. You'd just do it to begin with. And then you have a brand like Tarte, who is royally screwed up by producing, just instead of adding to their Shape Tape foundation, they've now come out with the Tape Shape. Is it just the thing reverse? I don't know what it's freaking called. It's stupid. And they just released a whole new line of 50 foundations that allegedly work for all skin tones. But like, just do it right in the first place. I think brands like Givenchy in the short term are going to continue to do this because I don't think they care. I don't think they care. I think they've done the market research and they've decided that they can live without that support from customers. But what I personally want to keep fighting for, number one, is inclusivity for everyone in makeup, because it's absolutely insane to me that my friends who are slightly darker than me can't go into a store and find their foundation color. Like, that's absolutely ridiculous to me. But I do think we are seeing somewhat of a change. Like, I do. The fact that Beauty Blender very silently changed their foundation range is telling. I think a lot of brands, the new standard is 40 foundation shades, and some brands screwed up, but some brands do amazing. I don't like to say that just because it might be for publicity, we shouldn't talk about it at all, because I think that sets a really dangerous precedent of like, well, you're just giving them what they want. Well, yeah, but like, people can still learn from this situation. You know what I mean? The next thing I want to talk about is actually something interesting that is coming out of the drama channel community here on YouTube. So T-Spill, who is probably the biggest, I think she is the biggest drama channel, like beauty drama channel on the platform. I'm pretty sure she's the biggest. I'm trying to think if there's anybody that's like bigger, that's like just beauty drama. Because there are definitely bigger drama channels. Like you have like Philip DeFranco, if he's kind of considered a drama channel. But she's definitely the biggest beauty drama channel. She's huge. She's really blown up in the past year. Also, she's super freaking nice. Super nice girl. I've like talked to her a couple times. I really like T-Spill. I think she's very kind. I think she's a great person. A new account that I've actually seen on YouTube and was like, wait, what? It's called T-Spilt YouTube. It's the same name, like the same username, except instead of T-Spill, it's T-Spilt. People, I feel like we need to get this together like now. And they're gaining followers. Like, their plan is working to slightly change the name and then produce content that's very similar to T-Spill's. Like, it's working. I think I find this interesting because, number one, it's wrong. Like, don't copy people just to have a come up. Like, come up with your own ideas. T-Spill is very original in the sense that she is the first drama channel to really do the no voice, no talking, just pictures type of drama. And I think it's working really well for her, obviously, because she's gaining so many subscribers. Not that that's necessarily, I hate to say that that's an original idea, because I know that saying that is dangerous, because I'm sure somebody did it before, but she has definitely popularized that style of drama channel. I don't think there's any denying that she is the one who popularized it. I've seen other drama channels take inspiration from her in a way and kind of morph it into their own style, which I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with kind of being inspired by somebody's style. Like, I'm definitely inspired by other YouTubers and stuff like that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. But I think to try to confuse people to gain followers, like, because at that point you're literally just gaining followers because you're trying to make people think that you're somebody else while not really like trying to defend it. T-Spill and T-Spilt, I hate this. God, I just think it's so like skeevy. I don't know. They got in a pretty large argument on Twitter and everyone was pretty much defending T-Spill. I don't think there were many that were defending this T-Spilt person. I guess like the drama channels know who this person is now, which is going to be interesting to see what happens with that, but that's kind of going to be a developing thing. I don't think T-Spilt is going away anytime soon, so I'm kind of interested to see how this all plays out. It's a weird concept because I feel like You have instances of copying a lot on places like Instagram where somebody sees a look from a very small creator. We're going to talk about that in a second, but we see instances of that a lot. But I don't think we really see a ton of, and we see content being re-uploaded and stuff like that, but to have somebody copy someone but very slightly change it is kind of a newer thing that I don't think we've seen. And I think because T-Spill does her videos the way she does, unfortunately, it made her a target for something like this. I don't think it's fair though, and I don't think we should be supporting creators. What if somebody made, like, I just think about how pissed I would be if somebody made like a channel that was like Smokey's glows or like Smokey glowses or something like that, and then made like my opinion videos and like copied everything I did, and it's just so annoying. Like, there's nothing I don't think legally on YouTube that you could do. And the other thing too, the bigger thing is she made her email so similar to T-Spill's email. So if anybody even got a typo wrong, then meant to send it to T-Spill, they'd be sending it to T-Spilled. Their Twitter and Instagram names are like eerily similar. Like, she just did it so if people misspelled something, they would end up with her thinking that it's T-Spill. And I just think at the end of the day, and she tried to be like, oh, well, it's a good marketing technique. It's like, do you want Danielle Bergoli to sponsor your brand too? Like, do copycat T-Spill? Like, what the hell is going on anymore? So I just think that's going to be a really interesting scenario. I'm really interested to see how it plays out within the drama community. I think this is going to be kind of a big thing. And I also think whatever happens with this situation is going to set somewhat of a precedent, because you can't just go around doing that. You know what I mean? Like, you just can't. The next thing I feel like we have to talk about is the drama with Alexis Stone. I don't like Alexis Stone. I'm gonna preface this by saying that Alexis Stone is not my favorite person, simply because I do think that she is a bully. Like, I do. I'm sorry. At least online, in the persona that he or she, I'm not really sure what their pronouns are, so I'm just gonna refer to them as they. Whatever like their situation is, whatever they portray online, I find it to be really a bully. Like, I think they're a bully. I'm sorry, I do. I know, if you don't know who Alexis Stone is, you might remember a few months ago, they are the channel that pretended they got like this crazy insane plastic surgery that like changed their face drastically, and then revealed later that it was actually like a social experiment they were doing to show that how rude and vicious people were to people who get plastic surgery. It was really interesting. It was an interesting video that they did talking about that whole situation. I actually really enjoyed that video. I thought the concept of creating this false identity and then seeing the public reaction was really interesting. Like, I did thoroughly enjoy it. Also, the reveal video was sick. So that's probably how you would know. They're also really known on Instagram for doing like face transformation type videos and type pictures and stuff like that. They transform into everyone. They use the power of contour to really turn themselves into whichever celebrity they want, which is cool. Like, their artwork is pretty decent. It's cool. I'm using the palette of the week, which is the Pigment Palace Modern Royalty palette. I'm just gonna jump right into this. The other day on Instagram, they basically posted a picture of a girl who's 17. I will put her Instagram down below because she's actually very talented. But she did a makeup look recreating Jenna Marbles, like becoming Jenna Marbles. And it was really cute because she did it like, remember when Jenna shaved her eyebrows and she wrote like, hell yeah, on her eyebrows? She like recreated that on her eyebrows. She looked so much like Jenna Marbles. It was insane. Like, it looked so good. I'll put the picture here. And then I'll also put up the picture of Alexis's look. So, and Alexis's look is fine too. I personally like the other girl's better. I think it's better. I think it's a better interpretation of Jenna Marbles, but whatever, like, to each their own. Alexis put up this picture of this girl on her Instagram. Was like, if you're going to, you know, recreate my work, I expect to be credited. And it's just annoying because, first of all, this is the same person who a couple of months ago recreated, what was it? I think it was they recreated some viral makeup trend. I'm like 99% sure it was putting like the grinder. It was some sort of like, I think they did like, people used to put like the Instagram box around their eye and then it would have like 1,000 likes. They recreated it, but it was for Grindr and it was something like a little risque. And people were like, you need to credit the original person who came up with this idea. And Alexis Stone was like, absolutely not. I'm not crediting the person. There are thousands of MUAs. Like, you think I'm really gonna credit the one person who started it? And people were like, yeah, that's how it works. And they refused. Alexis Stone really refused to do that. And I think James Charles got involved in that situation and kind of commented and was like, listen, you really should be giving credit where credit is due. And Alexis kind of blew them off and all of that. So this is coming from the same, first of all, the two looks, the Jenna Marble looks, are not even remotely the same. They're not even, you can't claim a technique as an original idea. Like, that's not a thing. They proved that you can't just, a technique can't really be trademarked necessarily unless it's hyper specific, because the guy who played Carlton sued Fortnite because he wanted, they were using the Carlton dance in the game and he wanted compensation for that, and they ruled you can't do that. So you're wrong, Alexis, first of all. Second of all, the looks aren't the same. Third of all, you're the last person that should be asking for credit because you refuse to give it. So why would people give it to you in return? Just about like mutual respect, I guess. Alexis has been getting a lot of blowback on this one. I personally think that's really deserved. I don't think it's fair to be sending that mass amount of hate to somebody who is not only smaller but also literally a 17-year-old. I think that's really gross. I know I saw something earlier today about James Charles like stepping in and commenting about this situation and saying like, telling the girl to just ignore it, and that, you know, Alexis Stone is like always does this for attention, and like that it's not her fault, she did a great job. He kind of was trying to, and I think there's some people that could say that James Charles getting involved in this situation is like, why are you getting involved? It's not really your business. But I see the point of, you know, he has a big pull. If he sees something going wrong, I actually commend him for trying to help this girl out and sending the sisters over to like help. I actually think that's really nice of him. I don't mind him getting involved in this. I think beauty drama, it's kind of nice when bigger creators speak up on this type of stuff. It gives it a legitimacy for the person who's being wronged, and in this case, that's the girl. So I actually don't mind that he stepped up. But I think Alexis retaliated by saying something really vulgar about how he like slept with James Charles's man and how desperate James Charles is for a man or something like that. And honestly, like, I'm just over Alexis Stone entirely. Like, I kind of was in support of Alexis Stone for a little bit because they openly were up against John Cuckian and were openly like filing police charges because they claimed John Cuckian was slandering them. And I was kind of like, well, good for you, sis. Like, fight the good fight. Like, we're all kind of against him, you know? But at the same time, I can't really condone or support those types of things. Being so openly cruel to somebody who's not only like, she obviously wasn't copying. That's just being conceited, in my opinion. Like, honestly, it is. I understand why some Instagram artists, especially small ones, and this is a huge issue in the Instagram community. I've seen it firsthand, and I understand why some Instagram artists get very defensive about bigger creators stealing their work, because it's wrong. Bigger creators shouldn't be stealing work without credit. Like, I get it, but in this case, that doesn't appear to be what was happening. It doesn't appear that this girl stole this idea. I don't think transforming yourself into a celebrity is exclusively an Alexis Stone idea. I think people were doing that long before they came along. Again, they might have popularized the idea, but I don't even know if that's true, because I feel like I see celebrity transformations everywhere, and I have been for as long as I've been doing my makeup and following makeup and stuff like that. It's an interesting conversation to have. I really would love to hear your guys' opinions on this as far as Instagram copying, the tea spilt situation. I think we're just gonna see a lot more of this the bigger and bigger the makeup community gets, the drama community gets. And I'm interested to see kind of what's gonna happen with all of this. Like, I don't know. It's such an interesting debate because I know there are some artists who like literally don't care if their work is copied. Jenna Marbles herself just made a whole video reacting to memes, and in it was a guy who his whole channel was just re-uploading her videos but with German subtitles. Or was it Russian? It was something like German or Russian subtitles. That was his whole channel, was just doing that, re-uploading all of her videos in full and making them so people from Russia could understand them. And she was just like, I literally don't care. She was like, I don't care that it's being re-uploaded. And he's making money off of this because he took the time to put the like things over. If this is what he wants to do, like, I'm not gonna take it down. Like, I'm not gonna stop him. And then you have other creators who, if you use 1/4 of a second of their clip, they're gonna copyright strike you. You have other creators on Instagram who call out people if they even get a hint that a look was stolen and stuff like that. So it is interesting. It's an interesting debate, and I'm interested to hear what you guys especially have to say about it. The final thing I want to talk about, and I'm almost like debated not putting this in, but I do think it's relevant and I do think it's interesting and I do want to hear your guys' opinions on it. Trisha Paytas put out merch. She did do a few things this week that would be considered problematic to most. She basically made merch that says like gay greater than straight. I don't know. I just think it's kind of like, I'm not the type of person that really needs someone to identify their sexuality, because if you are what you are, like, you don't need to label yourself, you know what I mean? Like, I'm very much like, you know what, be who you want to be, don't worry about labeling yourself necessarily. Very much think that way. However, I do think, kind of similar to the conversation we had last week about Corinna Kampf profiting off of the like my anxieties have anxieties merch, I think it's very similar to that. And a lot of you actually in the comments told me that you did watch Corinna's channel more consistently, and she does actively and really talk about mental health a lot on her channel, and that did make me see the merch a little differently. But again, Trisha Paytas, like, she said so many things that are anti-Semitic and racist and, you know, in some ways bigoted. And I know that a lot of people are like, oh, she was just a troll, but I still just think it's so annoying that she's gonna turn around and try to profit off of merch. I don't want to get political. I hate getting political on my channel. I'm talking about this with a freaking eyelash curler on my eye, but I hate getting political on my channel because I feel like even if I mention the words like Republican or Democrat, people just pounce. So I don't want to get too political. However, it is not a secret that the major people that run certain political parties that are against certain rights for some people. So I don't think it's fair that Trisha Paytas can use certain parties to troll people and make people think that she believes what she's saying, but then also try to profit by selling merch that says, oh, gay better than straight. Also, that saying in itself is problematic. The whole thing seems like, number one, an attention grab. Number two, actually, number one was for the money. Number two was probably because she should get some attention out of it. I'm pretty turned off to Trisha Paytas as of late. I've never been a massive fan, but even lately, just some of the stuff that she's been doing, I don't know, I just find it really distasteful. And like the fact that you try to make money by supporting the other side, you try to make money by supporting a side that doesn't support the LGBTQ community historically. But I'm not saying that just because you are a certain political party means that you hate gay people, because that's not true. I do think that a lot of members who represent those political parties actively vote to further oppress people who are gay. So I don't think it's fair that she tried to make money using that by being like, oh, I support Mitt Romney or whatever, and then also then be like, oh, but also gay people are so much better than straight people. Like, screw the straights. Let's just make merch about it. Like, it's just ridiculous to me. She also is now promoting this, like, she's just doing the same scam thing. Tana Mojo did another edgy birdie freaking ad today too, and I was like, wow, nothing is changing at all, and I don't even know why I bother anymore. That's not true. Don't think that way. Always bother. She does a ad for this like detox tea that was like $20, or it's like you lose 20 pounds in like 2 weeks or something like that. Just something BS that's been proven by science to be a scam and not true. And it's just kind of like Tina Mojo did it too, and I think it's easy to do what I just did. I want to like make an example of myself a little bit. Let me grab some lip gloss first, and then we'll talk about it. I think it is very easy to kind of do what I just did and say, I don't even know why I bother talking about this anymore. Why do we even talk about this anymore? Why do we even try to hold people accountable? They never change. I just think that's a dangerous mindset, because no matter how you slice it, even if one person hears you talking about this and hears you say, Trisha Paytas is scamming you by selling you this tea, Tana Mojo is scamming you, trying to get you to use a website that is plagiarism. They're scamming you by making you do this. They don't care about you. Even if one person who was a fan of them hears that and says and questions it, and it's just like a kid, like a 12-year-old, it's just like, wait, why is Tana Mojo trying to sell me this plagiarism thing that's gonna probably get me in trouble? Like, why is she doing that? Wait, and it just causes somebody to critically think about something. You're doing a good job. I just wanna make that very clear, because I feel like sometimes in these videos I'm like, well, what's even the point? And what's the point? And I feel like the point, and sometimes it's like, well, I'm talking about all these little dramas that like, in the end, do they matter? And it's like, yeah, they do. Givenchy blatantly not caring about people of color, that matters. Like, that's a problem that we we need to address. That is so reflective of how our bigger society is, and it's something that needs to be addressed. People blatantly copying other people or trying to accuse other people of copying when they're not, that's a problem on the YouTube community. The bigger the community gets, the more we're gonna see these problems. We should start figuring out solutions to them now. You know what I'm saying? Scamming people, using like merch as a way to make money for something you don't actually believe in, that's something we should be talking about. And I know it can seem really, because so many of these things happen. I'm going on a total rant now, but I know that it can seem very much like, oh, well, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Like, whatever. It's easy to have that mentality, but I think it's important to still talk about these things, have these discussions, talk amongst ourselves of like what we can do as a community to, I don't want to say fix them because that's a very optimistic approach, but what can we do as a community to try and self-police each other so that these things become less? And that's all I have to say today. I hope you guys liked this video. I think my makeup look actually turned out really pretty. I used the palette of the week. I'll have the Tutorial Tuesday up on this palette this week. I love you guys so much. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just like, or just subscribe, or do neither. Honestly, just so happy you're watching me. Thank you so much for being here. I love you guys so much. My merch, my social media, and everything I'm wearing on my face will be linked down below. And yeah, I love you guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!